zoners? This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and Jason, the lucky bastard. Ethan Wolt coming at you live from the West Coast. And this is the Fantasy Red Zone, man. Today, we've got trade targets. Week 1 is in the books of NFL fantasy football. I've got players that I want to trade away, Jason. But guess what, man? It was just week 1. But there are players out there that did bad that I believe are going to do better, all right? I'm going to trade for those players. I'm going to tell you all those. I've got players out there that did well that are never going to touch that number again, even get close, even going to sniff success. So I'm going to try to tell you the players I would trade away if I had them, all right? We also have our smashes and crashes, our studs and our duds. First off, we've got news, man. There's like 4 hot topics that just came across. We're not talking about that goth store. We're talking about real shit, Jason. So trades already after week 1 in the NFL? Eagles are insane. Before we get to all that, Jason, we need help. Tell the public how they can help the show.
Yeah, if you guys made it this far and you're interested in the trade targets, then please like and subscribe. Hit the alert button so you can see this video coming up every week for the next 18 weeks. Yeah, you don't want to miss it. Like and subscribe, please. Vomit in the comments if you guys, what do you guys think about the trade targets? Are you trading for them? Are you trading them away? Let us know. We're also got a Patreon, and we're on the radio, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. We got a Discord. I am lonely in there because it's just me. Please join it. Back to you, Tyler.
Shout out to Olaf. Thank you for joining our Patreon, and Carter Mario as well.
And our Discord. Man, he's the only other one. But I never hear from you.
Bigsby, Jason, to the Eagles. Tank Bigsby. It says not due to the Shipley rib injury. They really like him as a kick returner. Oh my God, dude. We went from Tank Bigsby being a league winner to being a fucking Eagles kick returner real fast. All right. Not good for Tank Bigsby. So yeah, this is more of an ETN. I did not even put ETN on the trade for or trade away because I can't touch this, man. There's too much personal stuff. I drafted ETN last year. I hate him. Okay. And after that first week, I do believe he's going to do better and do well all year long. I'm going to try to get Bayshell Tootin, though, Jason, after this trade. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, exactly. One of the first things I thought about was like, damn, how injured is Will Shipley? But apparently you're telling me he's not that injured. They just want him for kick returner?
This is some Eagles reporter. And yeah, and I'm like,
all right.
What do I truly believe?
I hope Tank Bigsby was not on your waiver wire show.
He was not.
Yeah, because he ain't going nowhere.
And then, hey, let's talk about the 49ers real fast because they've got literally the 3 next topics of the news. Juwan Jennings' MRA came back clean. I am a Ricky Pearsall owner, but I love Juwan Jennings. I said one of these guys are going to be a league winner this year, and I went with health. I went with Ricky Pearsall. And yeah, Jason, anyways, I was thinking, what's going to happen when Juwan Jennings is gone? Kittle's gone. Ricky Pearsall's going to get 1,000 targets. But yeah, that's not going to be the case. Juwan Jennings should be day-to-day pretty much coming up.
I still think Ricky Pearsall is the way to go. He was a dark horse that I mentioned in my dark horses video equals trophies in January. He's the only one being healthy. Dude,
that double move, there was only one cornerback stopping him from the end zone. If he would have scored on that, that'd have been like 20-something points week 1. That'd have been awesome.
They just signed a wide receiver.
Yeah, they've been signing was it not Kendrick Bourne, I think?
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, he's going to go in there and fucking
search for his
take
identity.
Out everybody. I was just going to say. Anyways, Jason, George Kittle to miss multiple weeks. That just came back. He is on this show as a trade forward, trade away. Stay tuned to see what happens next. All right. But George Kittle, how do you feel about him? How do you feel about all that, Jason? I was watching he got 12 fantasy points real fast. Caught a touchdown like on the opening drive. And I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to be funneling a lot to tight ends this year because their cornerbacks and their secondary is legit.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on with the San Francisco 49ers. Why are there so many injuries every year? It's like they need to start going to Planet Fitness and bulk up or something like that. And then you know what's the craziest thing? Their most injured prone player, they like overused him last game.
31 like, touches.
I'm like, this is just insane. Like, that's the craziest team, dude. That is the craziest.
They don't
team.
Give a fuck. We're like,
they don't.
We don't know if we're gonna be alive tomorrow. You know, just like Shanahan said, you're gonna get 31 touches today.
Yeah. You could be like in crutches or a wheelchair, but if you could lace up those shoes, you're getting 31 touches.
They live every day
touches.
like it's their last, man.
Yeah,
They should write songs. That'd be beautiful. Anyways, Jason, Brock Purdy injured his toe, and his status is now uncertain. Mac Jones is the backup there, and Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones to begin with. And Mac Jones supported a couple amazing fantasy assets last year. Brian Thomas Jr., who is off the fucking map right now, and I drafted him. So, yeah, Mac Jones and Brock Purdy, I don't think that's going to be that big of a difference. I know that sounds crazy, but I thought that today when I heard this news.
Is there a lot of concern that he's not going to be able to play next week?
Apparently there is. Apparently there is, Jason. Dude. So everybody's getting injured.
Go to Rite Aid, get some toenail clippers, and clip that motherfucking thing off, dude. Suit up. Jesus Christ.
Get some toenail clippers. Okay. All right, dude. I've got a bunch of stuff. I mean, I could have thought about 100 more, all right? But I was just doing the obvious ones off the top of my head. My first choices, I'm going to share this with you right now. I'm going to start going over trade charges for all the Spanish speaking people out there. That's not how it goes. I took Spanish 5 and I still don't know how to say target in Spanish. I don't think they teach you that shit anyways. All right, man. Am I sharing the right thing or am I sharing my...
You're sharing the invite to Riverside.
Don't look at my emails. The fuck was on my emails? Oh, that's my invite. Okay.
I saw an email. They're trying to sell you a blue pill, a small blue pill to make everything magical again in your life.
Hey, dude, my shit works, man. My shit works. As soon as it doesn't, I'm gonna get fucking testosteroned out, though. I'll tell you that much. So I'm almost hoping it stops working. All right. Anyways, moving forward, Jason. First up, man, who am I targeting? I talked about this guy on my wide receiver cornerback show. I said, hey, don't start him, okay? We got a rookie quarterback thrown to this guy being covered by Patrick Surtain for the first time. I bet you money the head coach is like, do not throw it to Patrick Surtain. So, Jason, Calvin Ridley had 6 fantasy points. Patrick Surtain did not allow a catch as the nearest defender of his 34 coverage snaps for the 8th time in his career. He was targeted only once, breaking up his lone target. Surtain lined up against Calvin Ridley on 27 of his 37 routes, dude. So, yeah. Led the team in targets still and receptions. So, Jason, if I can get Calvin Ridley right now, I am all about it.
Yeah, I have Ridley on my team. And I was like, I'd be lucky to get 5 points this week. I wasn't expecting anything big from him. I don't know if you said this, but the 3 catches he did have, Surtain was not covering him. And also, I mean, that defense, I don't know if you watched that game, but that Broncos defense, even the defensive line was just crazy. That was probably the worst game for a rookie quarterback to start in. Cam Ward actually led this week. He led the league for week 1 with 31.6% off-target rate throws. So,
he's fucking chucking that shit straight up.
Right. He's just like, get this ball out of here. They keep chasing me. Yeah. It's only going up for Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley.
It was the only game my dad watched because my brother-in-law or whatever, cousin-in-law, I don't know, likes the Titans, and apparently he cares. He doesn't watch any Vikings games. Thanks, Dad. But he's all, man, the Titans. There was no time to throw. And he doesn't watch football. So I was like, yeah, dude, shit was crazy. Orange Crush, they call it. And then, hey, dude, you think I'm crazy, but I'm saying to trade for George Kittle. 12 fantasy points. Dude, he's on pace for 48 fantasy points, for God's sakes. Left game 1 after suffering hamstring injury, had cut a touchdown, and was on his way to a monster game. Again, I do think Seattle is going to funnel passes towards the tight ends and running backs because of that secondary. But, dude, George Kittle was even better than expected. Brock Purdy, man, when he had to, even when things were on the line, he did well this last week. So things were not perfect, and Brock Purdy did still well. So I think he's actually improving still. And if Matt Jones is the starter, I'm fine with George Kittle as well. So if somebody lost their first game and has George Kittle, they will be panicking and probably trying to trade somebody. Like, dude, you won't have him for a month. Give him to me. So only if you are in position, if you won that first game, if you can give shit up. But George Kittle, Jason, is a rare opportunity to get a top 3 tight end after game 1.
Yeah, if there's a way that you could trade for him and pick up one of the tight ends off of the waivers, because I know there's some that you could get.
Oh, dude, there's like 6. It's crazy.
Yeah, and just manage the next like month until he comes back, I would do it.
Yeah, so easy one for me there, and then easy one for me here. Even though I watched that game, but the more I thought about it, Omarion Hampton, I was a little disappointed, but again, I watched like I did some pass protection film watching and stupid shit. It was some film breakdown from this guy Jackson Kruger. I can't remember his name. Anyways, Omarion Hampton did better than I thought. All right, only 7 fantasy points. Jason, you are Omarion Hampton owner. He handled nearly 94% of Chargers running back rushes. He only saw a 6% target share, but he ran a route on 61% of LA's dropbacks. So again, he had so much opportunity there. It was amazing. Najee Harris first game back. I expect that to, be Najee Harris to get more opportunities, but Najee Harris's pass blocking was actually pretty fucking terrible this last week. So right now, Omarion Hampton, I'm actually digging, trying to trade for. Would you even think about it after that first week?
Well, of course, Najee Harris's pass blocking was horrible. He couldn't see them coming.
He's got no depth perception. You know what? He caught a ball like out on the flat, and I was like, oh my God, both of his eyes work. Because if he had no depth perception, he wouldn't be able to catch that ball.
So this was another tough game. It's a division game. It's a Friday game in Brazil, and you're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, who had a good run defense last year. I think the most important thing to see here is that the Chargers are going to put points on the board, and he had by far the most carries. Like, he had 15 carries, and I think Najee Harris was next with 1, if we're not counting Justin Herbert running 7 times a game. I doubt that he will continue doing that. My whole concern was that they actually passed the ball a lot more than I thought they were going to do. Justin Herbert, he's pass rate over expectation. What is it? Over expected. His pass rate over expected was like 13%. Right? What is it? Expectation? What is it?
Yeah.
Why can't I think of it?
Yeah, you're like, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I'm like, I think I do. No, yeah, you texted me or we were playing video games, and yeah, he threw the ball more than he was expected to. That's 13% more.
And I don't know if that's going to continue. So I guess that's something we're gonna have to see that next game, because part of the reason why I drafted this dude in the 3rd round is because I'm like, dude, he's going to get a lot of volume. He is getting the volume in the rushing types, because it does seem like a lot of people else are going to get it. Maybe Najee Harris will get a little bit more, but right now I am keeping this guy.
And if you were debating between Omarion Hampton and TreVeyon Henderson actually had the better week. And I think they might end up very similar at the end of the year. I think Omarion Hampton with this usage, I like a little bit more right now.
I'll tell you this, Tyler. I was wondering between Omarion Hampton and Kenneth Walker.
Oh, yeah. And Kenneth Walker's on everybody's burn list right now.
Yep.
So,
yep.
We'll talk about that. DK Metcalf, Jason, only 12 fantasy points. And you'd think that you're like, oh man, that's good. Well, Sauce Gardner traveled with DK Metcalf pretty much the whole game, 30 at 34 pass coverage snaps. For the game, Gardner only allowed 2 catches for 18 yards as the nearest defender. So he had 12 fantasy points with a matchup that is not unlike so much of what Calvin Ridley did. So I really like DK Metcalf. If it wasn't, if Calvin Ridley had fucking Aaron Jones, he probably would have had 12 fantasy points too. But that wasn't the case. Plus, the upside of like touchdown progression here, Jason. Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns and he did not get any of it. DK Metcalf could have had a 30-point fantasy game here, like literally. And any other normal week, if I could trade for DK Metcalf, I was super high on DK Metcalf for like 2 months, like weirdly high. He was one of my guys for like 2 months. Then I got off of him because there's like Arthur Smith and all this bullshit. And now I'm back on him, Jason. So DK Metcalf, to me, I think is, if you could trade for him right now, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks because he could have been even a lower buy, but I don't know if he saw like his last reception that he had, like it like ricocheted like off of 4 defenders before he caught it, just randomly landed in his lap. My only concern is that there was 4 touchdowns, and Aaron Rodgers only threw the ball 30 times, which was 18th most this week, and they scored
super efficient, yeah.
And they scored like 30 points. So if they don't need to score 30 points, is Aaron Rodgers going to throw 30 times? And Yeah, he would have to be super efficient in his limited throws for DK Metcalf to like perform well.
Yeah. Tell you what, man, the Steelers defense doesn't look that great, so maybe he will have to do that.
That's very true. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's the first week, dude. First week. All right, next up. Oh, excuse me, I've been drinking. Malik Nabers, Jason. I was like listening to all those talk radios and all that shit today. Did you see him not dap up Brian Daboll? Brian Daboll was coming to him and he was just ignoring him. He was all pissed off, man. Only 12 fantasy points, 5 receptions on 12 targets, and was fighting with Daboll on the sideline. Now, my belief here is that Jackson Dart is going to be coming in. Maybe he gets the Saints. That might be too late. I think that's like week 5. They'll be 4-0. He did say that Russ is a starter against Dallas. Man, I wish he would put Jackson Dart in here versus Dallas. But at some point, Jackson Dart's going to be in here, and I like how Jackson Dart was throwing those deep balls and playing in the preseason. So Malik Nabers, I think this is going to be his worst game of the season. He was going against Marshawn Lattimore, and I almost had that on my cornerback list of bad matchups. And Lattimore does shadow. I did not see anything about Lattimore versus Malik Nabers online, but I think that had something to do with it as well. So Malik Nabers, if I could get him, Jason, I am all about
it. God dang it. I was trying to look it up real quick. Yeah, I talked about this in the offseason, is that right now Russell Wilson is the quarterback, and he never hyper-targeted anybody. Like, I get the most was like Doug Baldwin and I think DK Metcalf. I think they got around like 130. Yeah, remember that guy?
I was like, fuck, dude, that guy was like league winner. Oh my God.
And, I think they got between like their highest years was like between 130, like 140 maybe. But when you're drafting this guy in the first round, like you don't want your number one wide receiver from the first round pick to get like 100 and like 30, 140 targets. That's going to be one of the lowest out of the first round for wide receivers. So we are waiting for the dart man to come out and start throwing those darts, because that's when shit's going to go nuclear for Nabers. And you're right, because the Giants have one of the hardest schedules in the beginning of the year. So Russell Wilson's eventually going to get replaced.
He's a sacrifice. He's a sacrifice. All right, Jason, AJ Brown had 1 fantasy point. I didn't have to put S at the end of points. AJ Brown had just 5% target share against the Cowboys. The only other game in his career where his rate was lower than that was week 18 of 2023. He played 12 snaps that game, and that was week 18. So he was just out there looking at the fans, man. Philly wide receivers had a 35% target share against Dallas. They've averaged 65% wide receiver target share over the last 3 seasons. So this was a huge outlier of a game. The only concern here is the new offensive coordinator. Wait, is it a new offensive coordinator? Yeah, because Kellen Moore is the head coach of the Saints. So hopefully he learns fast, man, because that was way different than what they've been doing for a long time. Angel,
if you're going to trade for, are you saying trade for AJ Brown? Correct?
Yeah, I'm saying trade for him. I would trade for him because people are talking about trading him for nothing.
Yeah, if you could get nothing for this guy, I would do it, because you are trading for those games where he will win you a week. But this is the same thing from last year. Eagles ran the ball. Hurd only had 150 yards throwing. He did that like 7 times last year. And there's not a lot of yards being passed around if you're only throwing for 150 yards. So this might happen a couple more times to A.J. Brown the rest of the season. But he is going to have those games where they are going to need to perform. And, he is a talented wide receiver. So you're going to be trading for those spike weeks.
And a real trade that happened today, Jason, was Keon Coleman. Smash accept, apparently, for A.J. Brown. Somebody sent A.J. Brown for Keon Coleman, and they were like, yeah, here's Keon Coleman, dog. Here you go. All right, next up, I do want to say King. Yeah, right. King Tet did well. I mean, 11 fantasy points. I think he was projected like 13. Looked sharp. He had a huge touchdown stripped, and it was an obvious pass interference, and it was not called. I do want to say that he looks like the only wide receiver that had a connection with Bryce Young. And all of the Panther fans and people on like the subreddits and shit were like, dude, King Tet, Tet McMillan looks amazing. Holy shit. He might be a league winner by the end of the year. So if you can get him right now, I do own him. I would not trade him away. It would take a lot. They look terrible, man, right now, but they're going to get nothing but better. And Tetairoa whatever should be maybe on the league winner list.
Yeah, because his target share is just going to increase as the season goes along. They don't even have Adam Thielen anymore. But also, I was curious: was Travis Hunter covering him?
I have not looked at any Travis Hunter cornerback stats. I've only seen a lot of stuff about him playing in the slot and blah blah blah.
I wonder if that has something to do with it too.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Who knows? That's a good point. And then Darnell Mooney, Jason, I'm trying to trade for him still. I believe, all right? He was out week 1 with the shoulder injury. And you saw Michael Penix. I know he threw a lot to Bijan Robinson, but Michael Penix is actually, I'm really glad I picked him up in our Dynasty League. He's going to be a good quarterback, man. He's going to average 18 plus a game. He's going to be one of those pocket quarterbacks that get you fantasy points. And Drake London suffered a shoulder injury near the end of week 1. If I could get Darnell Mooney right now for super cheap, I just think this is a huge budget trade and nobody will pay attention, but it will pay off later on.
Yeah, I need Michael Penix to do well. He was my sleeper quarterback. He was my sleeper quarterback this year. And if Drake London is gone, then a must start will be Darnell Mooney until London at least comes back. But someone's going to be taking a lot of those targets when London's not there, and it's going to be Mooney.
And then Jason, lastly, Mooney. Tyler Warren, Jason, 14 fantasy points. I think he was projected 11. He looks like a league winner, man, with Daniel Jones running the show. So everybody, this was a hot shit, man. When I was watching live game threads and stuff, man, Tyler Warren's going to win people leagues. Tyler Warren. And then I was watching some film breakdown of Daniel Jones today, and I was like, oh, yeah, Tyler Warren looks legit. So if I could get Tyler Warren right now, I would. I mean, I can't remember what Brock Purdy, I think Brock Bowers had a 100-point or 10 target game to start off with. And so it's not quite that, but 14 fantasy points to start off with, man. He's going to stay consistent and have boom games. So if I could get Tyler Warren right now, I would definitely try to do that.
Yeah, let me just look at my roster because I drafted this guy. Oh, yeah.
I know. I drafted him in one of our leagues, Jason. I can't remember which one.
He was projected 9 points. So I watched this game, and he had 7 points on the first drive. I was like, dear God.
I know people were going ape shit.
I just drafted this year's Brock Bowers. He actually set a record for the most receptions by a rookie in their first game. Him and somebody else this week. So he's just going to go as far as Daniel Jones will take him. You know what? He even had a rush. He rushed the ball in this game as well. They lined him up in the fullback position. So if he starts getting some more rushes in the game, especially next to the goal line, if Jonathan Taylor's out, dude, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Big winner.
Dude, I swear to God, JJ McCarthy, he's got one trajectory, dude. It's eye level. Fucking way too many line drives. All right, we're going to go sell, Jason, who we're going to try to trade away. Travis Kelce had 12 fantasy points because of one play. I was watching that game. I'm going against Travis Kelce. That was a Travis Kelce game. He kills the Chargers. He did have Derwin James on him, who is a tight end stopper. But again, man, he should have got way more targets. And he finished week 1 with just a 10.5% target share, man. That appears to be the first time Kelce's been under an 11% target share since week 3 in 2017. So all I heard about was, oh man, he's going to come out and show you guys he's in better shape. He cares about football. I thought he was going to come out and light the world on fire, especially when he took out Xavier Worthy. All right. Thought it was all part of his plan, man, to get all the volume. And Jason, he targeted Hollywood Brown 16 times instead of going to Travis Kelce when he needed him. So, except for that one touchdown, man, he would have been the huge bust this week. If I could get rid of Travis Kelce after a 12-point game, I would.
Patrick Mahomes threw the ball 39 times for 258 yards. Travis Kelce had 2 receptions for 47 yards and a lucky touchdown on a design play. So, and that's without Xavier Worthy because apparently Taylor Swift was talking a lot about Xavier Worthy, so he had to cut him out of the equation. He had to take him out of there. But when these players come back, we got Worthy, and when Rice come back, his volume, his value is going to drop even more.
Keon Coleman, I'm watching, dude. Jordan Mason's playing in passing downs. I don't know what's I'm not really understanding what's happening. I don't know if Aaron Jones got injured or what. Keon Coleman, 26 fantasy points, Jason. 26 fantasy points, all right? And this fool had one catch for 17 yards heading into the fourth quarter. I was watching that game, dude, and I was like, Keon Coleman, I saw him. He had a terrible drop. They were spreading the ball all over the place. He'd rather throw to his tight ends. I was like, okay, whatever. He had a 94% route participation rate last night, leading all Bills. That's great. He had a 24% target share. That's the third high of his career. His last 3 regular season games have seen him with a target share of 26%, 32%, and 24%. I should be keeping this guy, man. But it's just not. If I could get rid of him, I'm like I said, for an AJ Brown, or you could I'm telling you, man, you could get some really good shit for Keon Coleman right now because of these numbers, because of 26 fantasy points in week 1. I would like to keep him. I tried to trade for him, actually, or somebody tried to trade me him for J.K. Dobbins. Now I'm thinking I wish I would have done that before the season started. But Jason, I still think he's in that J.K. Dobbins category. To me, I need to see it for like a month straight from this guy to really start caring. Because the way they spread the ball around and rushing touchdowns and everything in the end zone, dude. I'm just saying, man, Keon Coleman, if I get rid of him for a lot, I would.
Yeah, I agree with you on this one, too, because I want to see more of this. The thing is, it's like Josh Allen threw the ball 46 times. That led week 1 in attempts, and he threw for 400 yards. So a lot of players, I mean, what's that guy's name? Kincaid, he made an appearance as well. And I was like, I didn't even think that guy was on the team anymore. He was not on Hard Knocks at all. Ended up scoring a touchdown. And one of the Coleman's touchdowns, I think it was a fluke. Was it another one that like got tipped or was supposed to go to somebody else, but he ended up catching it? I don't know. It was like something crazy.
Yeah, they said that was actually the touchdown pass was intended for somebody else. He did catch it, but they said that was a good football play. They said that was a high IQ football play, but I'm not really sure.
Was that Chris Collinsworth saying that?
No, I can't remember. It was some article I was reading.
Okay.
So it wasn't Chris Collinsworth. He'd be like, let me tell you about a guy. Anyways.
If you're expecting Josh Allen to keep the 46 attempts at 400 yards every game, keep Coleman. If not, I'm waiting. I need to see more.
Jason, I was all about Zay Flowers last year, and he burned my ass. The ending of his rookie year was like Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had 28 fantasy points last night. He had a 47.4% target share last night. He looked amazing. He was waving goodbye to all the Bills fans. And guess what, man? He was the one. They were waving goodbye to him at the end with the last laugh. But yeah, Zay Flowers, man, if I could trade him for something crazy, I would. If you have to hold him, I still think he's going to be around a 10 fantasy point per game guy. Mark Andrews did nothing last night. I mean, nobody did anything. He had all the targets. So do I think that's going to happen again? No, I do not. I'm more encouraged by Lamar Jackson after this than anything. So Zay Flowers, Jason, get your fucking sell him high, dude. 50% target share pretty much. If he ended with that, that'd be historic. So get rid of him.
Yeah, and Isaiah likely was not in this game as well. And, if he was a part of this 40-point game, he would have had some of those targets that would have gone to Zay Flowers. One interesting fact, though, is that this week, Zay Flowers was actually second in highest first read target rate, that's pretty good. That's a selling point. I don't know if that's going to continue, especially when we got the Mark Andrews things going on. Like, this is what happened last year. Mark Andrews didn't do anything till like week 4, week 6, and then he started scoring touchdowns all the time. It looks like we're on the same path as last year, too, with Mark Andrews only getting like 1 point. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
All right. Last, Kyle Pitts, real fast, Jason, 12 fantasy points. He had 8 targets, dude. 18% target share against the Bucks. Again, Darnell Mooney's not there. And London still had 15 targets. Bijan had a ton of targets. There should be targets, Jason, for him. But if I could trade Kyle Pitts away, I would. I'm just saying, man, I still am not a believer in Kyle Pitts. I don't give a fuck.
When there's no one else to throw the ball to, Pitts benefits from it.
Yeah. And then here we go. Real fast. Jameson Williams, Jason, 6 fantasy points. I tried to trade for him before the league started. After they gave him that huge contract, I was like, man, you know what? Maybe I do want a piece of this. If I can get him super cheap. Threw out some cheap stuff. Got rejected. So glad I did, dude. This offensive line. I was watching some of the film breakdown of it. Hopefully it's just the first game. But the center is the most important thing. They lost Frank Ragnow. That is the worst thing to happen to them. The people are talking about Ben Johnson. Dude, go back and check like how much time there was. When you've got Jared Goff, you need a good offensive line. So this is the downfield target. This is the big play target, Jason. I'm trading him away. I'm trading him away if I could, on the name value and everything else. I am very concerned about Detroit.
Yeah, after watching, I'm with you, dude. After watching that game, I think maybe the one player I won would be like Sam Laporta. Maybe he's going to benefit with Ben Johnson no longer there, but they did not look the same. And I don't know about the Detroit Lions this year. I have to see what happens next week.
Dude, it's going to be, everything's going to be short. I mean, he had all those, 10. Ooh. Yeah, 10 receptions, for God's sakes, dude. It's like Alvin Kamara over there. I am a Gibbs owner, so I mean, I will not fight with the receptions, thank God. But still. And then let's see. Lastly, Jason, trade away all your Dolphins, man. Jump the fucking ship. Even Devon Nachan, I don't care. I would trade everybody if I could.
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill. You're talking about the Chiefs trading for Tyreek Hill again, Jason.
Yeah, no, he wants out of there. There's going to be a pike with McDaniel's head on it in Florida.
And is he like, you got my head on a pike? I don't care. What are you gonna do? All right,
I might be on all the pike, or I might get none of the pike. But my head will not be on my body.
All right, man. So I'm gonna stop sharing this. Jason, let's get into the smashes and the crashes. Start off with the smashes. We got Josh Allen, Jason, leading it off. I went against him in one league. I owned him in one league. It was great. All right. So lost one league because of him. I won one league because of him. I guess that's how it evens out, man.
Yeah. He, what do I have here? He scored 39 points, 394 yards, and 4 touchdowns, 46 attempts, which tied for first this week. He also had 30 yards on the ground. He did leave some points on the field because he had a few goal line carries that he couldn't convert on, which is actually surprising. But, Josh Allen at home, he's a different beast. In the second half alone, he posted 21 out of 29, 308 yards, and 3 total touchdowns with no turnovers. People dream about that in one game. He did in a half. So the next 3 games, he's at the Jets, Miami, New Orleans. All these teams gave up 20 more points to quarterbacks this weekend. Allen will continue to dominate for sure.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really to say about Josh Allen. He's going to have huge weeks. This is why you draft him. He's going to have 35-plus point weeks.
Yep.
And I swear to God, every time there's like huge, I don't know why there's so many huge shootouts. I mean, them and the Dolphins, them and the Ravens, it's like, that's a good division to have shootouts in too. I don't understand what's happening. So, yeah. All right, man. Next up. We got Derrick Henry, and people were like, why do you have Derrick Henry ranked above CeeDee Lamb? I don't understand. CeeDee Lamb actually did really well. But I was like, come on, man. People forget about Derrick Henry all the time. And I swear to God, dude, when I was watching that game, I was like, this is like the best Derrick Henry I've ever seen in my life. He looked insane to start that game, man. Nobody wanted to tackle. Usually it takes like the second half for nobody want to tackle him. Nobody want to tackle him right off the bat. So Derrick Henry, Jason, on his way to 2,000 yards again, or almost 2,000 yards.
Yeah, there was something about the Bills because, like, last year in the regular season when he went up against the Bills, he had I think his first carry was like 86-yard touchdown, and he just continued it. But he finished with 28 points, like he did to the Bills again. 2 touchdowns, 169 yards, 9.4 yards per carry, 3.56 over expected per attempt. That's third best in the week. He even had 1 reception. He caught the ball for 13 yards. His rushing share was 62%. By watching this game, dude, the lanes that were created by the offensive line were massive, and he still doesn't look like he's slowing down at all. His top speed for the game, Tyler, he hit 21 miles per hour. So the next 3 games, he's at the Browns, Lions, and Chiefs. They're not the easiest matchups. Browns.
Did you get your brand today, Jason?
Chase Brown to 12 points, 43 yards, and 21 carries. But Henry can still dominate behind that offensive line, no matter what.
Dude, I'm real-time reacting to this shit right now, Jason. Justin Jefferson, trade away. If you got fucking J.J. McCarthy in here, trade Justin Jefferson away. Trade for Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason's going to be badass this year. Jason and I, we're fighting over him in every league. All right, here we go. right, Jason? Kind of. We've been talking about him for a long time.
Which player did you say?
Dude, Jordan Mason. I'm just looking at his usage right now. It's pretty damn good.
And I didn't get him in any one of my leagues, which sucks.
I got him in like 2. I think I got him in 2 or 3 leagues, so I'm pretty happy about that. But yeah, Jason, right now, Justin Jefferson is not looking good, man. JJ McCarthy is not looking good. All right, Emeka Egbuka, Jason, is our next smash. I told somebody to start Terry McLaurin over Egbuka because I was like, it's a rookie wide receiver. But he was on my top 5 wide receiver quarterback matchups. He had the best matchup for Tampa Bay, and Baker loves his slot wide receivers. So 2 touchdowns. He smashed it, Jason, and I do expect this for like the next 5 weeks or something. But again, if Godwin comes back, I think this is going to fuck everything up. That's why I do not have him as a trade for or trade whatever.
Yeah, I think that's good. He ended up with 22 points, 4 receptions, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns on 6 targets. In the first half, he had a 96% snap rate, 27% target share, and 11.9 PPR points. He did that in the first half. At the end of the game, he was tied for second in targets behind Mike Evans, but he played a better game than Mike Evans. 24%. What I have here? 24% of shared team yards. That needs to be a little bit higher. We're going to get that a little bit north. But there is a possibility for his volume to increase, which is crazy. But Baker Mayfield had an inefficient day and only had 167 yards. Mayfield was the second worst off-target rate at 31.3%. He just beat out Cam Ward. But Egbuka was second on the team in first read target rates, which is great. So the next 3 games, he has Houston, Jets, and the Eagles. 2 out of those 3 will be difficult for him to find success, especially if Mayfield is throwing under 200 yards.
Dude, that's a crazy 3 next. That's really the 3 best defenses in the league almost coming up.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Hey, I better get Daniel Jones on the goddamn waiver wire, Jason. Here we go. Harold Fanning, my favorite tight end coming out of the draft, other than Colson Loveland. And I was like, dude, why do people not care? He led college in receiving yards. Well, dude, he was on my waiver wire show. He got, 1 touchdown and more targets than Njoku in the preseason drive with Joe Flacco. And now it came out and was kind of the same thing. I think he had 9 targets to Njoku's 6. So Harold Fanning, Jason, I'm picking up on the waiver wire and seeing what happens here.
Like I said, seeing what happens. So, yeah, 13 points. He led the Browns with 21% target share, 9 targets from Joe Flacco. 7 for 63. David Njoku was 3 for 37 and 6 targets. Njoku was actually 5th in targets on the team. His target air yards were 5.8, so that's one of the lowest of the week. That just means he's staying close to the line of scrimmage, which means it's easier PPR points. He's not like bombing it downfield. If you're in PPR, you love that. 72% snaps, 67% routes, 21% targets, 29% target per route run, and 1.97 yards per route run. Those are great for tight ends, especially a rookie in his first game. The next 3 games he will face the Ravens, Packers, and Lions. All had tight ends score more than 10 points against these teams. So,
good job, Jason.
I'm not sure if I'm starting Harold just yet, to be honest. I'm not willing to roll the dice on him next week and hope for a repeat.
Would you start him or Hunter Henry?
Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry was actually pretty involved on that. I know. Anyways, I've got a bunch of boring tight ends, and Colson Loveland's sucking bad right now. So we'll see how this goes. Joe Burrow, Jason, is next up, and we're starting the crashes. So he's our first crash. Jason, he scored 3.2, 8.1, and 8.8 standard fantasy points in his week 1 games over the last 3 years. In every other regular season game, he's averaged 21.0. So really, is this a surprise? It's kind of a surprise because he did awesome in preseason, and they were trying to make more of an emphasis of him starting off hot, but it did not happen.
Yeah, he finished the game with 8 points. He only threw the ball 23 times. That doesn't sound like Joe Burrow, who actually I think he might have led the league in pass attempts last year. And he only had 113 yards on 1 touchdown. He was -3 in completion percentage, under expectation. He didn't turn the ball over, at least. But this is typically a Cincinnati Bengals team at the beginning of each year. I saw this stat on Zach Taylor he's 1 for 11 in the first 2 weeks of all the seasons he's coached with Joe Burrow, which is crazy.
Yeah. So it is a Zach Taylor / Bengals Burrow problem.
And Burrow, the last 7 games versus the Browns, he has 197. I don't think that's correct. Oh, okay. 197.2 passing yards per game, so under 200. 6.4 yards per attempt. He gets sacked 3.3 times a game, and he was sacked 3 times on Sunday. And 13.2 fantasy points per game, was 0 games above 18 fantasy points against the Browns.
Damn, dude, so the Browns are killing him.
Yeah. Myles Garrett.
It's crazy. Well, the Browns secondary was so bad last year. I figured he lit him up a couple times. I should have checked.
So next 3 games, he's going against the Jaguars, the Vikings, and the Broncos. So Young had 3 turnovers versus the Jags. I don't know. We might not see Burrow be great until probably like week 3.
I bet you he kills the Vikings. Anything. I'm watching. The Vikings were making fucking Caleb Williams look pretty good today. They can still stop the run. They're not going to stop the pass. So I think that Joe Burrow will have his one good game against the Vikings. Then same thing goes with Jamar Chase. It's not like Jamar Chase had a bad game. It was Joe Burrow and the amount of opportunity.
Yeah, there was you just brought this guy up, and I was like, I had like some crazy stat about all these wide receivers this week that didn't play well, and he was one of them. But it's just like, don't expect that. Like, he's going to eventually like do well and be. I guess last year the first 2 games he was outside top 12 in wide receivers, and then he ended up number 1 overall. So.
Yeah, and he held out last year, and everybody thought, like, I remember trying to trade for him last year, and they're like, oh, maybe. It was, Mike Tanucci or whatever his name was. Anyways. I know.
Yeah, look at this, dude. Jamar Chase, 2 receptions, 26 yards. Nico Collins, 3 for 25. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4 for 45. A.J. Brown. Ryan Thomas Jr., 1 for 11. T. Higgins, 3 for 33.
Collins was supposed to be on my – he got deleted somehow on my list. I would trade for Collins. I would trade for Burrow. I would trade for Jamar Chase. And then Jason, on to Kenneth Walker. People are like, dude, hate him online. He's the most hated running back on the earth on Reddit right now. Did not do shit. And I watched that game. I was like, hey, Kenneth Charbonnet looks pretty good. They just kept on running Kenneth Charbonnet at the goal line. And every time I saw Kenneth Walker, he was getting like negative yards almost. So Kenneth Walker was not what was promised. We're like, oh, man. Kubiak and Walker, it's a match made in heaven. Not so much. Maybe try to trade for Charbonnet, but the Charbonnet owners are going to be holding on tight right now.
Yeah, I saw this stat, and it was like the first drive that Kenneth Walker was in was like 3 and out. Then Zach Charbonnet came in and they scored a touchdown. Then the next 3 drives that Kenneth Walker was in, they punted the ball. Then when Zach Charbonnet came in again, they got a field goal. So they were scoring points. Zach Charbonnet and not Kenneth Walker, but Kenneth Walker ended with 5 points. He had a 38% rushing share, 10 carries to Zach Charbonnet's 12. Zach's rushing stats are better, but Walker did have 3 targets to Charbonnet's 0. I'm not 100% what's going on. I do believe Walker is the better runner. He's a more elusive, explosive back, but Charbonnet had more rushes and had more goal line carries, which is very important. I hope this is like bringing him on slowly because of like, his hurt foot in the preseason, whatever that whole issue was. But the next 3 games are at Pittsburgh, New Orleans, and Cardinals. And those are teams that he can potentially bounce back. Breece Hall rushed for over 100 yards against the Steelers.
That's a good point. But yeah, just watching him relative to Charbonnet was just not good. So if you can get rid of Kenneth Walker, I would do that too, man. And then Mark Andrews. So he caught like his touchdown efficiency last year was insane. But if he did not catch a touchdown, he was not starter worthy. He did not catch a touchdown last night, Jason. It was all Zay Flowers. So Mark Andrews was not starter worthy. So he is super touchdown dependent at this point in his career right now in this system, which is insane because they're throwing the ball more than they ever have. You'd think he'd be tied in 1 overall.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier. They put up like 40 points, and he only got 1 target in that scoring avalanche. And Isaiah Likely wasn't even playing, so he was like, the one tight end on the field for the Ravens. So it's pretty crazy. The next 3 games, Browns, Lions, and Chiefs, tight end scored versus the Browns and the Lions this week. But I'm not feeling confident in starting Andrews.
Yeah, man, I'm live reacting right now. Colston Leveland, only 1 target, 1 catch, 8 yards at the halftime. That is terrible. We just talked about, Tyler Warren had all those catches. And then I'm looking at Kyle McGonaghy, whatever. He has 0 rushing opportunities. DeAndre Swift 9 for 22 right now, but dude, the Vikings look like they were killing the run. So what can I really judge about that? Then Justin Jefferson, Jason has 2 targets, 1 reception, 4 yards at half. This Vikings are fucked this year, dude. They're going to be drafting a quarterback high next year.
Yeah, they the girls here, my wife started a fantasy football league because they wanted to join the chaos, and she had the lead, and she was going into this game with Justin Jefferson, but then the person she was going up against had Josh Allen, who scored 40 points and put now she's in like in a 25-point hole, but she's like, I have Justin Jefferson, he's good. And I'm like, well, he's great, but I don't know about that quarterback. So thoughts and prayers for my wife. She's really feeling it for her first year, her first week of playing.
She's gonna understand how disappointing fantasy football is. That's all. I was like, hey, I just started fantasy football. I'm like, I hope you win this year.
Yeah, it was. We were watching the morning games, and she was just like, "Oh my god, so much anxiety! I can't take this. I need to go take a nap." She slept for 5 hours. I was like, I get it. There's a lot of anxiety and stress that come with it. I've been doing it for years. That's why I got heart problems.
Just remember, it's all out of your control.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, dude. Anyways, hey, that is the show. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully we earned a thumbs up. Hopefully we earned a subscription, man. We need that shit bad. Jason, what is coming up?
Oh, the lineup for this week. We got the famous, everyone talks about it. Everybody wants it. They crave it. Tyler's wide receiver cornerback matchup of the week. Make sure you check that out. And I guess we're going to talk about, we got starts and sit, right? This week too. And Vegas this week too. And I think I got my offensive line, defensive line matchup report coming out Saturday this week too.
And we have a live drinking show. My parents are going to be here, so hopefully it's still going to be good.
They're going to join us.
With our rankings. So, yeah.
Yep.
And you could ask questions on the Friday drinking show and everything, too. So that's super fun.
Join us. Let's talk shop.
This is a Fantasy Red Zone. We appreciate you.
Deuces.